Hey everybody, this is Miss Jan, and I'm here to talk to you about how clouds form. I'm outside, as you can see, and I've been looking at the beautiful sky. It's a little late in the day, but these clouds are still out and looking really wispy and pretty today. So I'm gonna tell you about how clouds form, and then after we do that, I'm gonna do a little short video with my son, and we're gonna show you how to make a cloud in a jar, which is gonna be really, really fun. Okay, so let's talk about how clouds form. So, I'm sure you've heard of the word evaporation. Now, evaporation means that when water, you find any kind of body of water, or even like a puddle of water, or even like this little, see my little pond over here? Water evaporates into the air. And that means like when the sun shines on it and it gets heated up, um, it starts coming up into there and turns into a gas. And I want you to notice something really closely about this word evaporate. Do you see this word right here? That word is vapor. And vapor is actually what the water turns into when it turns into a gas. It turns into water vapor. So when water vapor goes into the air and it goes up and gets really, really high into the air, and once it gets way up there and high, it starts cooling down a little bit, and then it will attach to dust or particles in the air. Can be anything. Can be ash, volcanic ash. Sometimes is what it gets attached to. Sometimes salt from the ocean, like salt particles, get in the air, and that's what it attaches to, or dust or whatever. And when it attaches to this dust, then it starts turning into water droplets or cloud droplets. Now, when it gets into water droplets, all this water vapor, there's a bunch of water droplets into the air, and they're all together, and then they form a cloud. So that is what a cloud is made of. It is made of water droplets that was once water vapor and attached to particles of dust or whatever may be in the air, and it's made a cloud. So I want you to realize that when we do our little cloud in the jar activity, that is what we're making. We're making that water vapor, and it's attaching to something we're going to put in the jar, and it's going to make a cloud. Now, I want you to look at this picture, because sometimes clouds can be formed really low, and when they're formed really low, guess what it's called? It's called fog. So if any of you've ever driven in your car in the morning on the bus in the morning, and you've seen like fog and it's really thick, that's actually like a cloud that's really, really low. We just call it fog. If you've been to the mountains, they have fog clouds that look really, really low. That's clouds. Hey everybody, this is Miss Jan. I'm in here with my son Veston, and we're going to show you how to make a cloud in a jar. What you're going to need first is a jar. Glass jar works well. If you have a plastic jar, I'm sure it'll work the same. Make sure you have the lid to the jar, and you need ice. Like I have 3 little crescent cubes of ice on my lid. That's where they need to go, is on the inside of the lid. Here's the lid. I'm flipping it over and put my ice on the inside of the lid. All right, you're going to need some hairspray. So if your mom's got some hairspray inside her bathroom, you need to go grab it. And then I have a third cup measuring cup. I'm going to put some hot water in. Now, I boil the water and make it hot. You don't necessarily have to have boiling water, but the hotter the water, the better the results. So I boiled water. Now, if your parents boil the water, do not let your parents pour the water in there, not you. That way you don't get burned. So I'm going to get some water in my measuring cup. I'm going over here to the sink to pour it in, because I don't want it to get on me or the floor. And I'm going to pour this water into the jar. So the first thing you do is get your hot water, 1/3 cup, pour it into the jar. Next, Veston is going to spray the hairspray into the jar. And as soon as he does that, he's going to put the lid with the ice on top of it. Now, if your water was hot enough, it'll start making the cloud immediately. And ours is pretty hot, and I can already see the cloud forming. Let me get this down. you should be able to see it starting to get foggy in there. Remember I said how clouds are fog? Clouds and fog are the same thing? The more you sit here, the more foggier it gets in the jar. And what is happening is, just like I explained to you about water vapor, the water is evaporating and it puts the water vapor droplets up into the jar. Well, up here it's really cold because of the ice. So when the water vapor gets up there to the ice, it attaches to the hairspray particles. That's the particles we put in there. And once it does that, then it starts to gather all together and form the cloud. So if you get you a flashlight, I forgot to tell you, you can get a flashlight and shine into the jar to really get a look at what it's doing in there. And if you look real closely, you'll see the clouds moving around and swirling around. And that's because the water particles are moving around and attaching. So this is how you make a cloud in a jar. And Veston's favorite part about doing this activity is to let the cloud out of the jar. And when you lift it up, look what happens. The cloud comes out. All right. So, guys, I really miss you. I hope you're having a good time at home. Be safe, please. I'm very disappointed I didn't get to see you in class this 9 weeks. Hopefully, we can get back to school very, very soon, and I'll be able to see your smiling faces again. Until next time, I will be putting a video on my website every week showing a different STEAM activity. So next Monday, be on the lookout on my webpage for a new video and a new activity. Until then, bye guys.